Ponzi is a tricky way of making money. Any business-minded person will not invest in Ponzi because it's fraud. It's pure fraudulent activity.
Many Nigerians will never forget Twinkas, Ultimate Cyclers, Chinmark and other Ponzi schemes which were introduced to Nigeria. A Ponzi scheme is a form of fraud that lures investors and pays profits to earlier investors with funds from more recent investors. The scheme leads victims to believe that profits are coming from legitimate business activity, and they remain unaware that other investors are the source of funds. It is basically trying to rob Peter to pay Paul, but Nigerians believe it is an easy way to make money. According to a report by the Securities and Exchange Commission in 2021, over 3 million Nigerians lost about 18 billion naira to Ponzi schemes and other illegal investment schemes. Speaking with some Nigerians, they shared their experiences with these Ponzi schemes they invested and how it affected them.
Yeah, the last one I tried was and it was funny. It was funny because the month I joined was the month they said the thing crashed. So I couldn't even tell anybody about it.
I have done, I think about 2 types of it, which I believe that they are very genuine. One, they don't have office here in Nigeria. They have office in Switzerland. And the way they present it, I actually believe that this is real. And I saw, so though many of my friends have been calling me to come and invest on it, but I was very careful to see if this is real or not. And the way they painted it, it was very real to me. Eventually, they even came, they sent a delegate from Switzerland to come to Nigeria, whereby they host an event here and they unveil it here in Nigeria. In fact, they use a Nikon, that is Nikon Luxury. That's where they did that program. And when they did the program was so sweet, and they even allowed those people to withdraw money from that stuff so that they can able to use to get the place where they want to do that program. Eventually, after that program, many people now invested. I also invested after that incident. But immediately after we invested, most people entered it. Before you know it, they just stopped it, that the thing is having challenge. The money people invested, some people invested 15 million, 30 million. Though me, I invested just 40 million because the lowest you can invest. So I invested about 40,000 naira on it. So I know of my friend who invested almost 5 million naira on it. But eventually today, that money could not be found. Personally, I wasted my money, I wasted my time in doing it. And some of my friends are also keen to it. Up to today, they are still telling me that I'm not a good person. And it's true. When I introduce something, you don't get anything out, or you spend your money. It's more or less rubbish.
It didn't turn out quite well. Like, in business, you go into it in the sole aim of making profit. But in this case, I did it because I want to gain. But at the end, it was a disappointment. And that was a whole lot of experience because then I was in school and I had to use money that was given to me by someone to invest in it. And at the end, I had to start looking for someone to borrow just to get that money back because it failed. So it wasn't a good experience, and seriously, I won't advise someone to just go into something like that. I'm this kind of person that no matter the challenges, I can still work my way through it. So I had to handle it the same way I've been doing because I didn't start investing today, so I've been investing a lot of money, and most times they turn out good and bad, but with that kind of experience, so I had to deal with it the same way. So it wasn't that harsh to me when it comes to the disappointment.
Around 2001, when the hit was there, far back in Lagos, I invested and made some money. After a while also, they went back.
Despite Nigerians losing huge amounts of money to these Ponzi schemes, many have continued to wonder why Nigerians still fall prey to these schemes. Is it greed at the heart of the matter?
With the situation of the country, when things are not working well, people always want a way to come out of poverty one way or the other. So any easy way that people see, that's how they will just run into it. It's when things are not actually working well, when your salary cannot even buy you, good food. So anything you feel that you can put your money to get more money to it, we'll just jump in, not minding the risk that is involved.
If you find out no employment, and people tend to make money where they feel that it's easier for them, and which is not so, because there's no easy way to make money. The Ponzi is a tricky way of making money. Any business-minded person will not invest in Ponzi because it's fraud. It's pure fraudulent activity.
Generally, they are not making awareness or telling people about this program, that this program people are doing is not genuine. If people are aware about it, they won't go into it. Poverty is part of it, because you have 1 naira, you want to double it to 2 naira. At the end of the day, you just go into it. I think that's one of the reasons.
People just feel like they need to make money, not because within them they want to, but because the country has pushed them in a state whereby they had to, we need to make money, because if we don't make money, it's either we don't feed, or it's either we might just end up being depressed, because a lot of people are looking up to us, just want to make fast money.
Mr. Michael Modegbe is just one out of thousands of Nigerians who have fallen victim to a Ponzi scheme.
It was called mark also, because we had to do some markings on the internet. You had to do that every day. That's what they told us, so that we would look like we were doing something. I lost almost 500,000. Then it was a little less than 500. It was about 430 or 400 and something, but 430 or so. I didn't make any profit. That was the first time. We went into it because there's a particular friend of mine. She was into it. She kept, just bugging my life, and so I just felt okay. And I'm a very meticulous person, so I didn't want to rush into it. So I held back. What actually convinced me to go into it was when I went to church, and apparently my pastor was involved. And at that time, not my pastor now, at that time, so he spoke about it and encouraged us to, try and invest in it. So, coming from a pastor, I felt it was secured. When I heard from my pastor, I just said, okay, let me give it a try. And so, unfortunately, that was how I lost that money. It affected me greatly. This was long ago, when 500,000 was 500,000. It wasn't even now that 500,000 has lost its value. But then it was heavy money, and it almost got me depressed. But I say life continues.
Speaking on why some Nigerians are still involved in these schemes, he said,
It's greed and ignorance. I heard somebody saying something one time, we all lose money, whether we invest or not, and that every man that becomes successful has lost money some way. So they tend to want to, motivate the ignorant person to just keep putting their money in all of that. I don't think any wise businessman put his money in his Ponzi scheme.
Mr. Modegbe, however, advised Nigerians not to get involved in these schemes.
Avoid anything that comes with ambiguous profit margins. They are not true. It's a fraud.
In January 2022, a bill sponsored in the House of Representatives proposed that illegal promoters and operators of Ponzi/pyramid schemes in Nigeria are to get 10-year jail terms. The bill will also make the Securities and Exchange Commission the apex regulatory body for the Nigerian capital market. Despite the warnings by the Nigerian monetary authorities to members of the public, many Nigerians of all ages, professions, and even students continue to invest huge but unsecured sums of money in the hope of getting unusually high returns on their investments over a short period.